Shocking. Kirk Frost claims that while Rasheeda was in Puerto Rico, she stole $500 million. The lavish Puerto Rican house with its sun, sand, and peace was supposed to be Kirk Frost's refuge from the never-ending chaos of Atlanta. Instead, it provided the backdrop for the final betrayal. While Kirk was posting lighthearted stories and grinning with friends thousands of miles away, Rasheeda was allegedly cleaning up all they had made together. Not a small withdrawal. Not an occasional secret account. Those close to the couple are whispering the unthinkable. Rasheeda departed with an incredible $500 million in cash, assets, and business holdings. When Kirk's private plane touched down and he saw the devastation, it was a nuclear explosion. Insiders said that he stormed into his Atlanta house and confronted his wife of decades, his voice trembling with anger. "Everything was taken by you. Rasheeda, 500 million euros? Trusting you with our whole lives while I was away?" As the comments echoed through the hallways, their kids reportedly froze in shock. Rasheeda persisted. She reacted with her own accusations, claiming that Kirk had been secretly transferring money and leading a double life for years, leaving her with little option except to protect what was rightly hers. The family house turned into a battlefield in a matter of minutes. The destruction spread swiftly, and feelings were running hot. The closest group to them is split in two. Several acquaintances say Rasheeda finally lost it after years of Kirk's alleged wrongdoings and questionable business dealings. Some view her behavior as unacceptable, a premeditated theft that might destroy the empire they created in front of the cameras over the course of a lifetime. Fans are going crazy on social media and flooding timelines with disbelief. A well-known tweet stated, "500 million? That is a takeover, not a divorce." But the real gut punch twist? The whole hip-hop community is holding its breath. Hashtags are trending, and sides are being chosen. Insiders claim Rasheeda wasn't working alone. There are allegations of secret meetings, offshore transactions, and powerful people involved with the missing money. In addition to revealing a lost fortune, Kirk's return from Puerto Rico revealed a wealth of lies, betrayals, and unanswered questions that could have destroyed their marriage and legacy in one devastating blow. Was it survival, retaliation, or something far riskier? The ground beneath Kirk Frost's feet appeared to disintegrate as soon as he returned to his ATL mansion after what was intended to be a peaceful vacation in Puerto Rico. No one is sure who will escape the devastation when the Frost Empire crashes. The battle that followed was nothing short of cataclysmic. Once he discovered the awful fact that Rasheeda had allegedly drained their joint accounts and company holdings of an incredible $500 million. After everything we had gone through together and the years we had spent building this empire, Kirk Frost screamed and demanded answers at the top of his lungs, his voice a mixture of disbelief, anger, and betrayal. "How could you do this to me, Rasheeda? You have no idea what I have been dealing with while you were off in Puerto Rico living your best life." Rasheeda shot back, her eyes blazing with her own anger. "You don't stab me in the back like this until I'm thousands of miles away in Puerto Rico. Are you serious that I didn't know about the secret meetings and the money you were sending me without telling me?" When Kirk Frost realized the full extent of what had happened, the words struck hard and he felt the room spin. "You were prepared to leave us with nothing, so I took the necessary steps to ensure our family's safety. Please don't argue, Mom and Dad." Their kids, who had been upstairs, ran down the stairs as soon as they heard the loud voices. When they found their parents in the middle of what seemed to be the end of the world, their faces blanched with fear and perplexity. Their oldest daughter pleaded with tears in her eyes, "We're worried about this." As the argument grew more heated, Kirk Frost picked up his phone and began phoning his attorney, pleading with him to come over immediately since his wife had embezzled $500 million from him. But the adults were too busy to listen. The attorney on the other end tried to calm him down, but Kirk Frost was beyond reason at that point. He paced the floor like an animal in a cage while Rasheeda continued to defend her actions, saying that she had only done so after discovering his intentions to divorce her and remove her from the companies they had developed over the years. The children were caught in the crossfire as the couple continued to level accusations at one another, with Kirk Frost claiming that Rasheeda had been plotting this for months and Rasheeda insisting that she had been forced into a corner by his secretive behavior and alleged infidelity that had plagued their marriage on and off for years. The personal stakes were higher than ever because not only was their fortune at stake, but also their family unit and the public image they had carefully built over years of reality television fame. People who had been close to Rasheeda for years started calling with concern almost immediately. One longtime acquaintance contacted to inquire about the veracity of the allegations and whether Rasheeda had indeed taken such a substantial amount. Even at this early stage, the family was split. Some family members were already taking sides and praising Rasheeda for defending herself, while others described her actions as unforgivable theft that could destroy everything the Frost name stood for outside the mansion's walls. Fans who had followed their journey for a long time expressed shock and disbelief on social media, with many saying they never saw this coming and others wondering what could have driven Rasheeda to such extremes. In addition to the $500 that had gone stolen, Kirk felt as though his entire world was falling apart, since the lady he had trusted and loved for decades had turned against him in the cruelest way imaginable. Nothing prepared him for the reality of the emptied accounts and the ensuing showdown, but while he was away in Puerto Rico, he replayed every discussion they had before he left in an effort to discover hints that he had missed indicators of her plotting something this large. Rasheeda, on the other hand, was devastated and felt vindicated at the same time. The first significant turn of events occurred when Rasheeda took out her phone and showed him a number of messages and documents that she claimed demonstrated Kirk had discussed filing for divorce and reorganizing their assets in a way that would have left her and the kids with far less than they deserved. Kirk fiercely denied it, saying that those were only initial conversations and that she had misrepresented the facts to support her own behavior. However, the trust was already in jeopardy and the harm had already been done. The children watched in terror as their father's face plummeted and their mother remained steadfast in her decision, while friends who had heard about the altercation began to express their opinions. With shouted voices, tears, and accusations flying back and forth, the scene was one of utter chaos and emotional agony with no sign of a settlement. The drama was only getting started, and as the evening wore on, more people became embroiled in the story that was developing, with the prospect of even more significant disclosures that would alter their perceptions of one another and their marriage. With additional calls coming in from worried family members, the hip-hop community was about to be engulfed by the horrifying revelations of what actually transpired during that disastrous trip to Puerto Rico and the explosive repercussions that followed. The stakes had never been greater for this power couple. After hearing the news, a family friend hurried over to take the kids upstairs, but even from their rooms, they could hear the muffled sounds of their parents' ongoing argument. It broke their hearts to witness the people they loved the most tearing each other apart over money and trust issues that seemed unfixable. In addition to stealing the $500 million, Kirk Frost claimed that Rasheeda may have had assistance from an outsider, a new business partner, or even a close friend who had secretly assisted her in making the transactions. Neither side was ready to make concessions or even take a break, and the back and forth continued well into the night. Kirk Frost's feelings of intense hurt and incredulity that the lady he had built an empire with could betray him so abruptly were on full display. While he was preoccupied with other matters, Rasheeda denied having any accomplices and said that she had done it all on her own, utilizing the skills she had acquired from managing their funds for years. On social media, fans were already picking sides, with some calling on Rasheeda to return the money and others praising her for taking control of her life and finances at last. Rasheeda also talked about how she had suffered for years from feeling underappreciated and distrustful of his frequent travels. Their reality TV careers were in peril, and producers may profit from the drama and perhaps cut storylines if the situation grew too toxic for the show, so the personal stakes went beyond money. The inquiries and allegations were far from ended, but as the first night of the encounter drew to a close, the scenario was a powder keg poised to blow up even more. The home where Kirk Frost and Rasheeda had spent the night in separate rooms after their violent altercation was bathed in an unsettling glow as the sun rose over at Lanit, ready to comb through the tangle of purported betrayal and drained accounts. The lawyers showed up early with serious faces and briefcases full of paperwork. The youngsters watched from the steps, too afraid to descend but too interested to turn away, and the tension was visible as the two sides scowled at one another across the table. Kirk Frost paced the kitchen, calling for quick action to freeze any remaining assets and investigate how Rasheeda had transferred $500 million while in Puerto Rico without triggering any alerts. Sitting composedly in the living room with her own legal team, Rasheeda gave her version of events and said that the transfers were required to shield the family from Kirk Frost's alleged plans to divorce her and leave them penniless. Kirk Frost said that Rasheeda was collaborating with an insider, perhaps their longtime accountant who had suddenly stopped communicating. The accountant later stated, when being approached, that he had only complied with Rasheeda's directives since she had total control and access to the funds while Kirk Frost was away. Fans on the internet were eager to speculate about who else might be involved in what they were calling the largest theft in hip-hop history, as this news added yet another level of shock to the already tumultuous scenario. When Rasheeda's mother unexpectedly arrived at the mansion and immediately pulled her daughter aside, alleging that Kirk Frost had always been domineering and that Rasheeda had every right to obtain the funds for herself and the grandchildren, the family fell apart. Calling from out of town, Kirk's brother expressed his indignation and offered to fly in to help his sibling deal with what he called the ultimate betrayal. When one of the kids confessed to seeing Rasheeda on the internet late at night during the trip to Puerto Rico, printing documents and making quiet phone calls, the kids were drawn back into the center. This small detail became a huge source of controversy because Rasheeda said it demonstrated her acting out of necessity and worry for their future, while Kirkhouse said it demonstrated premeditation. Another twist came when Kirkhouse received a text from a mutual friend in the industry, alerting him to the rapid spread of the story and the fact that some blogs were already depicting Rasheeda as a victim of years of alleged abuse, while others called her a gold digger who had finally shown her true colors. Fans discussed every aspect and offered their own thoughts about what truly transpired in the Atlanta house behind closed doors. In response, Kirkus recorded a brief video statement refuting the allegations of covert divorce plans and promising to investigate the $500 million disappearance. However, Rasheeda retaliated by releasing her own statement via her attorneys, asserting that all measures were taken to protect the family business founded on love and diligence. The back-and-forth remarks only served to fuel the flames and make the situation more public than it had ever been. The producers of their reality show contacted both parties to determine how this drama would impact future episodes and whether they could film the fallout for maximum ratings. The personal stakes increased as business partnerships and brand deals started to halt their collaborations pending the outcome of the legal battle. The children felt the weight of the public scrutiny as classmates began whispering and asking questions about their parents' dramatic split. The emotional tensions intensified when Rasheeda sobbed during a private conversation with her mother, who acknowledged that although she thought she had done the right thing, she never wanted the family she loved to suffer this much. As the day went on, further details surfaced, including rumors that some of the $500 million had been moved to offshore accounts under Rasheeda's name alone, making it more challenging for Kirk Frost to get the money back. In contrast, Kirk Frost told a close friend that he was completely caught off guard, and that the purpose of the trip to Puerto Rico was to give him time to reflect on their marriage rather than to allow Rasheeda to empty their bank accounts. The friend told him to keep his cool and let the solicitors take care of everything. The children were caught in the midst of a conflict that threatened to ruin everything they had ever known, and the family was truly at a crossroads with no obvious way ahead. Kirk Frost was immediately enraged by this new revelation and threatened to use federal authorities to track down the money if needed. Such a move could reveal even more personal information about their marriage and finances to the public, Rasheeda's legal team warned. A private investigator hired by Kirk Frost discovered that a portion of the stolen funds had been transferred via a shell corporation associated with one of Rasheeda's closest business associates, a woman who had been pictured with her at multiple events while in Puerto Rico. With the fresh evidence in hand, the investigator faced Rasheeda and demanded to know whether her buddy had assisted her in carrying out the transfers and whether their relationship went further than first appeared. After learning about Kirk Frost's purported divorce negotiations, Rasheeda admitted that her buddy had given her advice on asset protection, but she denied any romantic involvement. When the kids overheard some of this new dispute, one of them sobbed and fled to their room, while the other stayed to try to mediate. However, both parents reminded them that this was adult business and they shouldn't get involved. Kirk Frost, who trusted her with their kingdom while he was away, felt even more deceived by her statement and suspected her of conspiring with outsiders to plunder him. After years of Kirk Frost's reclusive conduct and rumors, Rasheeda retorted that she had turned to her buddy since she had no one else to trust. As the family began to break apart due to allegations, deception, and the very real fear of losing everything they had created together. Emotions were at an all-time high. Friends in the hip-hop community began taking sides publicly, with some posting messages of support for Rasheeda and calling her brave for standing up for herself, while others expressed sympathy for Kirk Frost and urged him to fight for what was rightfully his. The online debate grew vicious, with fans flooding comment sections and sharing edited clips from old episodes of their reality show, highlighting moments that now seem to foreshadow this massive betrayal. The producers of the show were in a frenzy, trying to decide whether to incorporate the real-life drama into the next season or to distance themselves from the scandal to protect their brand. The personal stakes for Kirk Frost and Rasheeda had never been higher, as their businesses, their family, and their public images all hung in the balance, with no end to the chaos in sight. The lawyers worked through the night trying to negotiate a temporary truce, but every new revelation only made compromise seem more impossible. The questions and accusations from the first night had multiplied into a web of deceit and pain that threatened to consume everyone involved. And as the second day of the crisis dawned, it was clear that the drama was far from over, with even bigger twists waiting just around the corner. As the second day of the crisis dawned, it was clear that the drama was far from over, with even bigger twists waiting just around the corner. Kirk Frost woke up to a barrage of missed calls and messages from industry insiders and media outlets, all clamoring for comments on the alleged $500 million theft by Rasheeda Frost. He felt a fresh wave of anger mixed with exhaustion as he realized the story had now gone fully public, with headlines screaming across every gossip site and social media platform. Fans were divided into fierce camps. While some portrayed Rasheeda as a planned opportunist who had waited for the ideal opportunity during Kirk Frost's trip to Puerto Rico, others defended her as a woman who had finally taken charge after years of standing by him through good times and bad. The formerly peaceful family home turned into a battlefield of allegiances and views as more family members moved in. While Kirk Frost gathered with his team in the study to figure out how to track down every dollar and potentially file charges if necessary, Rasheeda met with her inner circle in the sunroom to explore how to protect the transferred funds and prepare for the approaching legal storm. When their youngest child confronted both parents at breakfast, sobbing and questioning whether they still loved each other and why they were destroying the family over money, the emotional tensions increased. Both Kirk Frost and Rasheeda had to take a moment to reflect as the question hung in the air like a dagger. But when Kirk Frost reminded her of all the sacrifices he had made for their empire, only to be betrayed in return, old wounds quickly revived. In response, Rasheeda enumerated the suspicions that had grown over time, and the nights she had spent by herself wondering where he was during those extended vacations in the style of Puerto Rico. When word spread that a number of important business partners were bailing out of transactions because of financial uncertainties, the personal stakes went up. Because of what he saw as Rasheeda's irresponsible actions, Kirk Frost was distraught to lose years of networking and hard work. Rasheeda, meantime, receives unanticipated support from female hip-hop celebrities who applaud her for standing up for her rights and exhort her to keep up the good work. Siblings and relatives continue to argue angrily over who was correct, and the family remained sharply split. As the day wore on, Kirk Frost's private investigator uncovered shocking new information. Rasheeda had not only moved the $500 million, but had also moved a portion of it into a trust fund for the kids that was completely